This is a extractor from Amazon. It's for a 7.3 Powerstroke. It removes the injector cups out of the bores. I was just going to show a few tricks that I found on this. Number one is on the tip of this bolt. It's a lot wider when you get it. If you grind it down right here, then you can slide a socket over the edge of there in order to tighten this piece down to let it smash in there. And the whole idea with this is a injector cup that I have already removed. You take the extractor and you are putting it in there and then threading it into the cup with your socket with that top bolt. At that point, once you get it seated all the way down into the cup, you tighten up this nut, which then forces this plate down and pulls the cup out of the injector area by breaking the glue off of the edge and the bottom of it. By doing this and grinding that off of there, you can use that socket and it saves a lot of time instead of having to thread a wrench down in between your valves and getting everything, half turn at a time. So it saves a lot of time doing that. This one is just from Amazon. It's like 50 or 60 bucks. It works very well. I've got all 8 out of them without any issue. I'll link it below. And it just takes a, what is this? 14 millimeter 12-point socket on there. Another thing to show, this is the factory cup. This is a brand new cup. It's a brass cup. These are the Riff Raff Diesel upgraded stainless steel cups. You can see where the outside is completely smooth. It's thicker. It's quite a lot heavier, but the inside, if you can see that, is still exactly the same as the factory cup to let the injector seat into it. By being stainless steel, it's a lot stronger and should last a lot better with the heat expansion and just keeping everything from cracking ever again. This truck was suffering from fuel getting into the coolant by seeping past one of the points on the injector cup where it was getting, there's coolant around this, and the fuel was working its way down into there and then into the cooling system, which causes a lot of issues. Another trick I have found is to keep the metal shavings from getting down into the bore, into the cylinder of the engine. What you do not want is to take a penny, and before you thread that tap into there, you drop the penny down into the injector cup, and it fits perfectly down in there and keeps all the shavings from dropping down into the cylinder. That is the hole that the tip of the injector goes through into the cylinder. The injector or the extractor did come with these little caps that you can push into the bottom of there, but they're almost impossible to get down in there without fighting them. And most of these you can't see down into the bottom while you're doing them because of the cab overhang. So you can see here, there's the injector cup down there. I'm going to put that penny in, kind of push it down in there. There's a piece of the injector seal kind of stuck down there, but it'll still do its job. Just sitting down there blocking that hole. And then at that point, you bring the removal tool in, you feed it in there, and then you're going to tighten this top bolt down until it really no longer wants to go in. And then at that point, like I said, you will tighten this nut, which then pulls the whole assembly out. So I went ahead and threaded that into the injector cup. Now I will place this socket, the deep well, over the top of this, and you will start tightening. And when it goes, you'll hear a pop, or it'll start to creak. There it goes. It just popped. And then from there, it should start getting looser every crank you do. You want to make sure that that tap screws all the way into the bottom of that injector cup in order for it to properly seat and give enough clearance for this to be tightened down for it to come out properly. So you can see here, it's getting a lot looser. And then eventually it gets so loose it just starts turning. Pull that off of there. And when you pull it out, you can see that plate is all the way down to the bottom now, and it uses all that area. And then here comes the injector cup. And you can see that penny stuffed in the bottom there, and no shavings went through. At this point, I then put the injector cup, the old one, into the vise, put my socket back on it, and you will unthread the tap from the injector cup. Otherwise it's in there pretty tight. You can't really do it by hand. So when that comes out, you can see all the shavings on top of that. Loosen this guy up. You look down in there, you can see all the shavings. Now the penny came loose, but those would have gone into the cylinder. You don't want that. And you can see the threads that that tap made into there. And then you can just dump it out. All those threads are from the others. You can get your penny back and use it for the next one.